We are Pro Cannabis Media.
Hi, everyone. Welcome again to another edition of In the Weeds with Jimmy Young, our regularly scheduled podcast that we produce here at Pro Cannabis Media. And a reminder to please like, share, and subscribe, not just to In the Weeds with me, okay? You can subscribe and like all the shows the Pro Cannabis Media people put together every week. And if you do subscribe, you know how many original programs we produce and share with you, the public, because we know you are the Canna Curious. Joining me in the Weeds studio room today, if you will, is Jon Napoli. He is the operator of the Boston Gardner in Boston, Massachusetts. But there's so much more to this guy's resume and history. Jon, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Jimmy.
So tell me about the Boston Gardner first, okay? Because now I visited the store and I see where it's located. And you've been around, you've been doing this for quite a while, right? You've had how long have you had Boston Gardner open for?
I started the Boston Gardner back in 2009, right there in what was then Dudley Square in Boston, Roxbury neighborhood, now known as Nubian Square. We haven't moved though, it's the same location.
Gotcha.
That was started after the decrim happened because there were no hydro stores. I was a grower and I was driving miles and miles away to get my grow supplies. And, you know, it was always a little sketchy at these grow shops back in the day. You couldn't talk about cannabis. You didn't want to use your credit card. They might track you. Even like parking in the parking lot was sketchy. They might look at your license plate. So, you know, I wanted to end that. So I started the Boston Gardener as a grow shop specifically tailored towards cannabis growers, indoor growers, urban growers, which was, you know, kind of a novel concept at the time. Nobody was doing that. If you were a hydroponic store, you were getting your supplies from the big, you know, the big hydro companies, and they didn't let you do that. If you said, hey, yeah, we're going to teach people how to grow cannabis or talk about cannabis, use your equipment to grow cannabis. No, we're not going to be selling you anything anymore. You're cut off.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the landscape that I had to navigate then, which was fine because by 2012, once the medical laws started passing and once it got legalized in Colorado and Oregon, then the hydro companies, they all kind of switched gears at that point and decided they were going to probably start servicing this industry. They, you know, the money was there, obviously.
I was good. Funny how money changes your looking at the business, right? And acceptance of different things, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
And I know, how long have you been growing? And again, let's cut to the chase. How long have you been growing cannabis?
Jimmy?
Yeah.
Okay. So I started growing because I found seeds in my bag of weed. Back when you bought weed with seeds in it. Okay.
Oh,
so
I wouldn't know anything. I wouldn't know anything about that. And
yeah,
a record cover to
anything
clean it,
about
right?
that.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is the early 90s. It was really right about then when like all the indoor growing started taking off and the new you know, basically we were domesticating the industry at that point. I had seeds in my weed because it was coming from Mexico. So, you know, everyone always hated the seeds and threw them away. I started growing them. I come from a farming background. My family, you know, come from a bunch of farmers on my father's side, and my mother's side is a bunch of pharmacists. So I started growing. You know, I was 19 years old, and I never looked back after that.
That's great. And of course, the other thing that really impressed me when I looked at your bio was the fact that you and your wife, Kim, were very involved with the ballot initiative in 2016 that led to the adult use market here in Massachusetts.
Yeah. Who do you think brought MPP to Massachusetts?
You did.
Yeah, there you go. We used to have the fundraisers up at my place in Boston, and then they met Kim, my wife, and they're like, "Oh, you should work for the campaign." And it was a great fit.
I certainly know that deal too. You know, I totally get it. There's always a smart, beautiful woman behind or in front of the man, okay, depending on how you look at it. What was the biggest challenge on the lobbying side, getting those ballot questions, the signatures that you needed, and how important was making sure that you could actually grow at home as part of this bill? Because some states like New Jersey did not have that the first time around.
Well, okay, so so the groundwork was, it took a long time to lay that groundwork, and people like John Leonard at MassCan and other people over there definitely collected signatures for just like public policy questions in different towns or counties, right? And that after we got public policy questions on the ballot in 04 or whatever, then we had positive results that we could show to a national group like MPP, and I could say, hey, what are you doing out in Nevada? Come to Massachusetts, we can get it done here. So we had the numbers to show them. And then, yeah, they had to go out and collect signatures. My wife was part of that, but that was no problem collecting the signatures. It was really just, I mean, we only won that about 52 or 53%. So it was just a matter of getting people out. And it was a presidential year. It was a big year. A lot of people were turning out, even though it was kind of a weird, 2016, a lot of people didn't like either candidate. So, that was a little bit of a challenge, getting people to come out, and just, getting people on our side. There was a lot of people just kind of on the fence about it. And there was a little battle between like whether we should have the national group or have the local group try to do this. And for me, it was the most important thing to do was to win. Because if we lost in 2016, that, according to the law, wouldn't have been back on the ballot until 2024. Massachusetts would have just lost this whole opportunity that we have now.
Right.
So, a lot of the purists wanted to go with the local group because the laws were going to be a lot more consumer friendly and less regulations, which I'm totally down with. But probably that group didn't have the wherewithal that MPP did to get this whole thing passed.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I mean, you definitely live with the stigma just like we do. Whenever you go somewhere and you start talking about it, you can sense that people are not educated about how far the research and science has come that really debunks a lot of the myths that have been around for decades in the United States. But I really do believe, and I'll give Steve D'Angelo credit on this, his book, The Cannabis Manifesto, when I read it and he explained his feelings about the plant and how it really had medicinal qualities. And the adult use world is using it in a different way than the medical community is using it. And yet it still has medicinal qualities. And I guess the question I have for you, and it's more an anecdote. One of my dear friends, okay, is a regular. He has a medical card, and he voted against adult use because we're already in the club, he said. What do I need anybody else more in the club? And I argued with him, just for the record, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know the type. Yeah.
Right. And I get it. And I still use it medicinally. I do it to help me sleep, recover from any kind of a workout. And you even heard David Ortiz talk about how as you get older and you're still a professional athlete, you don't want to be on opioids. You're looking for alternatives. And that was always a friendly alternative for him. How do you view the plant as a medicine or something that can be used for fun?
First of all, it's I mean, and I'm going to quote a DEA judge here back in 1988, but cannabis is the safest, most therapeutically active substance on earth. It is safer than most of the food we eat. So first of all, you want your medicine to be safe and natural and in your body to interact with it just easily, correctly. And a lot of these opiates are synthetic drugs. Your body doesn't know what to do with them really. And that's why you end up bloated or they end up not working. Natural medicine that your body has evolved with. I mean, humans have been using this plant for a long time. We have an endocannabinoid system in our bodies. And I was actually talking to a doctor the other day who couldn't believe that she didn't know that we had an endocannabinoid system. How does she not know that? She's a doctor, right? Because they don't teach you in medical school. But it's a really important medicine and it works unbelievably. I use it myself. It should be the first thing that people use, not the last thing. I've had a lot of people come up to me with, just before it was even medically legal. I owned the Hempest. The Hempest was the only place you could go to talk about cannabis or access cannabis in any way for a long time in Massachusetts. So I'd have people come in, like maybe parents with a daughter had a brain tumor, I remember, or even older people, and they talk about how they took everything else. And I'd say, really, you should just start here. This is where this is a great medicine, and there's a lot of there was a lot of resistance. When we opened up the dispensary down in Brockton, In Good Health was the second dispensary open in Mass, and it was all medical, obviously, back in the day. And we'd have people come in and say, "Thank God you're here. I used to be on 20 pills a day." And people would come, they were broken people. They were really sick in the medical days. Like I was actually caught off guard a little bit because I was always in the industry kind of, but not dealing with patients all the time. And so I really got a firsthand look at people who are really suffering and really benefiting, usually from pain management, but also just appetite for people who are on chemo. My own daughter at 7 months was diagnosed with leukemia.
Oh,
I had her on CBD all through, she went through 5 rounds of chemotherapy, kept her appetite up, helped with the chemo. And in my opinion, there's studies that show that it helps with the chemo.
mhm.
And, she pulled through it. She's happy, healthy 2.5-year-old. And really, like, I thank CBD. But were people questioning me like, hey, you shouldn't be giving her that, like that. Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of resistance still amongst doctors and nurses in the medical community,
Right,
even though we passed this law 10 years ago.
right. They want more research. And by the way, so do I. Okay. I want more research. I want,
Yeah, but our government has spent more money trying to find something wrong with cannabis than all other vegetable matter on earth combined. So we
I think it's 30,000 studies of cannabis by the substance abuse community looking for reasons to veto it, ban it, vilify it, whatever they wanted to do. And they really couldn't find anything.
yeah, they're
And,
doing the wrong kind of research. Yeah, they
but,
should have been looking for good things, like what it can do for us.
and isn't that a different mindset when you go about looking at, data and analyzing that and everything? How is it now when are you still getting those cannabis saved my life, cannabis changed my life, and versus I'm accepting cannabis now more? Have we moved forward?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Oh, we've moved way forward. I mean, if you're talking about since 2016,
Yeah,
I mean, maybe we had 53% of the country on board at that point. Now 70% of the country, 90% are in favor of medical. People
right.
are becoming more educated. You could see, what's really changed is when in order to get these things cited, you have to go into the town meetings, meet with the selectmen in front of the public, and they put in their comments. And back in the day, yeah, the public would come in and kick your head in, and the selectmen would kind of agree with the public. Now the public, they'll come in, the people who are anti, or the people who are NIMBY, I don't want this next to me, and they come in to the zoning hearing, and they'll say their thing. But now the people up on the select committee or the zoning board, they'll come right back, and they'll instead of shooting me down, the pro cannabis guy, they'll go after the anti cannabis people and say, hey, look, we haven't had any problems with this so far. This has only been positive for our community, and I realize you don't want it here, but that's going to happen no matter where we put it. So
Right.
we're going to go for it. We're going to green light this project. So we're seeing a lot of changes at the municipal level, a lot more acceptance there, and in general, yeah, but still there's pockets of resistance out there. We find. I know a friend of mine, Kobe with Pure Oasis, just got denied by the city in Brighton, and the mayor's office came out against it because the neighbors were just crazy about it. So
Yeah.
it's still out there. The resistance is still there for sure.
Yeah. And Kobe Evans is such a great example of,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and these people, they're not going to come out to oppose a Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's or anything that generates as much traffic and people and cars. It's extremely hypocritical and an emotional response, or just people have been taught to believe this is bad. And like you said, it's about changing the mindset. Look at it as something that's positive.
Right. And again, it goes back to one of the reasons why I started Pro Cannabis Media in the first place, because that the industry is banned from doing public service announcements on television and radio stations. I said, let's give them an opportunity to talk about it on our own station, our own network. And I really do believe in that. And I really do believe that we've I don't know if we played any kind of a role in moving the needle, but I will say this: most of the people in the industry have supported everything that we've done here since I started my In the Weeds podcast back in 2018. Hey, what, Quincy? Are you opening a dispensary in Quincy?
We are, yes. We're gonna in 2 months look for the Quincy Cannabis Company to be open right on Route 3A, right across from the bridge, coming over from Weymouth. You're gonna see a big sign on a small store that says Quincy Cannabis Company, and it'll be the first adult use store in Quincy.
Yeah, and there's a huge difference in the regulations, compliance, and also pricing and taxing. And what are the other differences I'm missing here? The amount you can have, all that stuff between the adult use and the medicinal. But from a business perspective, the adult use is where you want to be, correct?
Well, you have a lot more. You have a bigger customer base. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, but a lot of people co-locate. You have a medical and an adult use in the same store, and I think that's ideal.
Meta does that. I know that.
Yep.
And out
Yeah,
of
we all did it back in the day.
right. Back in the day, John, was a completely different story for sure.
Completely different story. Yeah. Now all the medical places are the ones that have converted first.
We've talked about this next subject, and it's going to be another plant medicine. And it's something that I've kind of resisted, but it goes back to what we've been talking about here about the stigma. Everybody knows that one of the biggest barriers for people's brains to understand what cannabis is all about is they're afraid that, oh, if I start using cannabis, I'm going to go to heroin, I'm going to go to cocaine, I'm going to go to LSD. And then there was that other one, the mushroom. Okay, the psilocybin, that many of the people that I knew back in the 70s really enjoyed. Okay, I don't know if they're still enjoying it, but I'm going to guess they are.
They are.
Are we as cannabis people? Is it time to embrace even another plant medicine, even before cannabis has been accepted totally?
I mean, yes, I mean, definitely for me, and it is happening. I just got an email from MJ BizCon. They're going to have a psychedelic section at MJ BizCon this year. Oregon decriminalized for mental health medical purposes. So Northampton, Cambridge, Somerville, all decriminalized. So it's happening. There's no reason why the cannabis community should not embrace this. I mean, when I eat mushrooms, I want to have 3-4 bombers twisted up, but before my trip starts, so I'm ready to consume some cannabis, for sure. So there's no reason why cannabis people shouldn't support this. And the mushroom is not something like cannabis that people are going to use every day unless you're microdosing. But to go on a full trip, like that's something that people do occasionally,
Right.
get a little reset.
Right.
It's much more powerful than cannabis.
Right. It's cleansing. A lot of people describe it as a cleansing experience. Is that inaccurate?
I would say so. Yeah, no, I mean, you can look at you'll get a whole new perspective. Mushrooms can give you a whole new perspective on things. Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be a life-changing experience, really.
And again, research on plant medicine, the fact that they have to still fight for that. And of course, if it's federally approved, it used to be only the University of Mississippi, and we know how crappy that weed was. Now, at least they're starting to research the plants that people like your company grows, or you help others grow. The stuff that's actually going to be on the shelves, which makes a lot of sense to me as a consumer. When I go into a store, I want it to be tested. I want it to be consistent, and I want to know what I'm getting and what effect it might have on me. With psilocybin,
the cannabis stores are natural places. So in Canada, that they have psilocybin mushrooms at the dispensaries. If you go to Amsterdam at the coffee shops, they used to. I don't think they do anymore, but they used to be able to get mushrooms at the coffee shops in Amsterdam. So I think it is, like you're saying, it's a good place to get something that is what it is you're supposed to be getting. It's free of
right,
pathogens and
right.
mildew or pesticides or whatever. Yeah, get it from a legal store. And what we're going to do at the Boston Gardner is we're going to start mushroom grow classes where we're going to actually just teach people how to cultivate their own mushrooms of all kinds, including psilocybin mushrooms, right at home, because it's very easy to do. And you can grow unbelievably delicious gourmet mushrooms at home, or, great, powerful psilocybin mushrooms at home.
Okay, there you go. I was waiting for that balance. I get that. It makes sense. What's harder to grow?
Well, so you could just put a seed in the ground outside for cannabis and just watch it grow. If outdoor, it's really easy to grow, right? Sun and water, maybe a little bit of nutrients. Indoors, it gets more complicated. Sure, if you're doing a hydroponic grow, that's complicated. The mushroom growing you can do it a lot faster. You don't need this huge grow room. You don't need to buy a lot of heavy duty equipment, big grow lights or anything like that. But it is more complicated. And it is very important that you keep everything sterile. So I think that the classes that we offer we did the cannabis growing classes.
Mm-hmm.
That was easier to get people to learn how to grow cannabis. Mushrooms, you could do a basic level class. We'll do it in like 2 hours. But to become an expert at growing mushrooms, that's like something you want to go to school for.
Yeah. And where exactly what school would that be?
I don't know. The school of mycology.
That's what I was going to say, because I know that more and more universities and colleges are embracing the cannabis industry. They've built out some curriculum. They have the business of, they have the science of. It's a fascinating. I think it's pretty interesting, by the way, that at the college level, they're teaching 18, 19, and 20-year-olds about a product that they're not supposed to touch until they're 21.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but nobody in college uses weed, right?
Nobody. I wish they had that class when I was in college. That's for sure.
Absolutely. I want to talk a little bit now about how tough it is. You actually have 4 businesses, okay, that are mostly plant touching, whether it's cannabis plants or mushroom plants or not plastic plants, but plant touching. How challenging has it been for you to find banking in this world?
Well, so back, it was very challenging. Back in, after the medical laws were passed, there was only a couple banks, like Century Bank, and they were charging $5,000-$6,000 a month or something. We found a little credit union in Rhode Island first that would do it, and then we found another.
Wait! That's not Greenwood, is it?
You know what? I don't have the name because that was the In Good Health guys.
Okay, because that's where we are. That's where
it might be. It might be. They were
Huh.
running down to Rhode Island with all the cash. When I opened the Hempest when I converted, so we had the Hempest in Northampton since 2001, and we converted that to a dispensary, and I had to switch banks at that point. We found a credit union, Alden Credit Union, out there to do it, and they were reasonable.
Yeah.
And obviously for the Boston Gardner, that's totally legit. Like there's no federal issues there. Same with my CanAssist consulting company, no problem there. But like with Quincy right now, I'm bank shopping. We're seeing who can provide us with the best service at the best rate. Luckily, you can do the shopping now, but you're limited in your choices, and they're a little expensive still. So we really want that Safe Banking Act to pass. And
it's passed 7 times in the House. It's passed 7 times in the House.
Yeah, I know.
And we know about
that'll fix the 280E situation as well. And you probably saw that Massachusetts decoupled from the 280E on Friday night. They passed that big bill.
Yeah.
So that was encouraging.
And of course, when you're in a state like Massachusetts, a rather progressive state, or at least they like to think they're progressive, it certainly makes sense.
Puritans is what we are.
Well, look, it all started here in Boston with a party, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that?
yeah.
I mean, I know I was a history major. I remember reading about the Boston Tea Party, right?
Yeah.
I'm going out on a limb thinking there was some cannabis being consumed at that time, right?
Well, all the sails and everything on those boats were made out of cannabis. They were all made out of hemp. All the all the sails on Christopher Columbus's ships were made out of. We would have never got here if it wasn't for hemp.
Right.
Back then, Massachusetts had a law where you could pay your taxes with hemp. It was considered legal tender, and if you were a landowner, you had to grow cannabis.
Isn't that interesting? And
Yeah.
now there's some even more controversies about hemp because in 2018 with the Farm Bill passing, everybody thought, oh, it's legal now to grow hemp, but it didn't actually work out that way. And they started extracting CBD and putting it into everything. And now you've got a controversy between Delta 8 and Delta 9.
Yeah.
And can you walk me through? Can you tell me the difference between the two?
Delta 8 is less, is not going to get you as far as Delta 9, put it that way. You
So,
have to
but it gets
consume
you, hang
more.
on a second, but Delta 8 gets you high.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
but not that high.
Not that high. Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, if you're in a legal, there's no reason why you would use Delta 8 over Delta 9, put it that way, if you have
Right.
access. So the only reason you use Delta 8 is because Delta 9 is illegal in your state. The next hemp farm bill, they'll probably correct that, I'm guessing. So, I wouldn't invest in any of these Delta 8 companies if I were you, but um, it's a little bit, I mean, so it's great. CBD is amazing and all the minor cannabinoids amazing and everything. But you know what's also amazing? Hemp seed is incredible food. Like it's the most nutritionally complete food source on earth, pretty much. It's got all the amino acids, essential fatty acids, protein that is needed to sustain human life. And I'm wearing a hemp hat. Like there's a lot of uses for hemp that we haven't quite, luckily now I'm starting to see hemp packaging, out in the cannabis world. So that's great, replacing plastic, replacing paper. So those are the kind of uses that I think we really need to start moving towards with hemp.
And it's just amazing to me that it was banned because of the powers that be in the 1920s and 30s really were trying to keep the status quo. And by that, I mean systemized racism, okay? Maintaining the Jim Crow South and getting rid of the immigrants from Mexico that had that evil weed, that marijuana,
Yeah.
that brought in here. And that's how it all became vilified, if you will, but it was all done through misinformation. Imagine,
Yellow journalism.
right? Imagine though, if it was still legal through that time, through the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and
A different
70s,
world.
we'd be in a completely different world right now. And according to many doctors who do understand the endocannabinoid system, I get them on record. Dr. Ryan Zacklin's one of them, saying it absolutely would have changed medicine as we know it. It would have brought the incidence of cancer down, seizures and epilepsy. All those medicinal qualities could have been studied for 70 and 80 years instead of vilified.
Mhm.
And that's why I think the first blog I ever wrote was 1937, the wrong drug got prohibited, because I was obviously talking about alcohol at that time.
Yeah, so in 1932, they or before that, they prohibited alcohol. And what they did there, to do it right, you have to pass a amendment to the Constitution, because prohibition is not legal under the Constitution. So what we did was had that marijuana tax act and made it a tax thing, but
Right.
prohibition, it was never a legal law. You know what I mean? It was an illegal law from the beginning, because prohibition is not part of what is allowed under the US Constitution. Now, obviously we have a corrupt government now. We had a corrupt government then, and DuPont can go in there and buy senators and can turn things around for their advantage. And they patented the wood pulp paper making process, which is a extremely chemically intensive process and responsible for a ton of pollution and our deforestation. And they patented nylon the same year, 1937, when hemp was being made illegal. Now, the reason they made hemp illegal then, not to mention they were coming out with these products, but what was also being invented was the hemp gin. We already had a cotton gin, but the hemp decorticator hadn't been invented yet. So in 1938, you saw this article in Popular Mechanics, the new $1 billion crop, right? Well, that was never allowed to happen, because
Right.
that once they knew that technology was coming, they called it marijuana, which isn't not a word. It's a Mexican colloquialism.
Right.
People didn't know it was cannabis or hemp being made illegal, and they shut the whole thing down.
Yeah, it's amazing. And again, once you look into the history and you really understand how this country how it evolved, just follow the magic dollar. I mean, that
Mhm.
dollar can corrupt everybody, right?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. The future of this industry, is it on the cannabis medicinal side or on the hemp with all its multitude of uses side?
It's both. It's both, but both really need to be developed. The adult use, like recreational side, has been quite developed. It's great. But like I said, like you walk into a hospital, good luck finding a pamphlet telling you about cannabis medicine as being an option for you, or a doctor even recommending it. Besides the few cannabis doctors out there.
Yeah.
The pharmaceutical companies really, you've seen like GW Pharmaceuticals, or a couple of them get into it, but I think ultimately they would rather have something that they could patent and make a lot more money off something synthetic than you can a natural medicine. So yeah, there's a huge amount of room for growth in the medical field, and as well as the hemp agricultural. I mean, where's all the hemp paper? Where's
Right.
the hemp fuel? Hemp plastics?
Would you like to see the industry taking more of a ecological focus, more solar energy, more alternative energy to grow these crops? Because I know the stat, 10% of the electric grid comes from indoor grow facilities in Massachusetts. That's kind of staggering when you think about it.
Yeah, it's
Um,
crazy. I mean, it's all going to go outdoors eventually and into greenhouses. It's the cost is just going to start being driven down and down, and people are going to be forced to kind of move out of these indoor facilities that aren't very efficient of just using the sunlight. Of course, there'll be year-round growers everywhere. Luckily, the LEDs are getting a lot more efficient.
right.
Massachusetts, has that energy compliance rule,
Mhm.
so you can't just do whatever you want with energy. But yeah, solar should be part of everything. Yeah, we should turn this world into a solar and wind powered world for
Right. Well,
everything.
we're moving towards electric cars, which is amazing to me. Hey, you have a grow facility, a brand new grow facility in Leicester, Massachusetts. I know it's kind of like a pride and joy thing for you, isn't it? This is quite a facility you've built.
Van Garden Cannabis Company. Yes, we finished building a 70,000 square feet of canopy. So it's a beast. It's a big one. And yeah, it almost killed us, but we did it, and it's up and running. We started growing. We expect our first harvests to come down later this summer and to be in the stores this fall.
Yeah. And what makes that grow facility so special? I know a few of the answers, but I want you to share with us what makes that grow facilities so special.
Well, we built out a few before. Like I said, I was a consultant, and we built out a few of these, and you just learn along the way, and you just get better, and the technology gets better too. So obviously, instead of high intensity discharge lamps like the HPS or metal halides, we built it out with the high efficient LEDs. We are recapturing all the water from the condensate, so we recirculate that water. We don't lose very much of it at all. We have dedicated energy recovery units for each grow room. So each grow room is on its own HVAC, and we have a heat exchange in that. So it pulls out the hot air, it hits a 46-degree coil, and then dry, cool air, 60-degree air is going back into that room. So it's a really efficient system rather than a normal HVAC setup where you're just using the ACs and whatnot. We have something that we've done that's very efficient. We're growing on multiple tiers, so we have 3 tiers of growth. So we're using all that vertical space as well. It's a highly automated facility. You come in there, and we have robots moving stuff around the hallways. We have all the automated packaging equipment, automated trimming equipment. We've built out state-of-the-art curing and drying rooms that really Massachusetts, like anywhere, they just have not been drying and curing this product correctly. And people get disappointed when they go into a store and they buy a bag and it's all dried out. It's dust inside, doesn't smell right. We've built out, rooms from, we used a company from the meat and cheese industry that's used to curing all these products, and we had them build out our curing rooms so we could dial in our humidity, our temperature, our dew point, and set it exactly where we want it. There's no up and down of humidity causing problems. So we've gone beyond. We spent too much money, but we created something that's really unique, and it's going to perform.
Great. And it's a lot more complicated than just taking a seed from your bag and putting it in the ground now. Okay, let's face it, right?
Slightly.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Jon Napoli, how do people find out about, you can give another plug to the Boston Gardner or Hempest? How do people find you and your consulting?
The Hempest is the first thing I did. I started that when I was 23 in 1995. You go to hempest.com, you find the biggest selection of hemp gear in the world. We're on Newbury Street. And we also have the Northampton location is at hempestdispensary.com. And that's now a dispensary in Northampton. Boston-Gardner.com is the Boston Gardner. CannAssistMA.com is CannAssist if you need any consulting services in the cannabis industry. And VanGardenCannabis.com is how you can find out about us and the grow facility.
Four businesses? Four?
We got four.
I can't handle one. Okay.
And then we got the Quincy Cannabis Company coming up.
Oh my
QuincyCannabisCo.com. You can find out about updates. We're under construction now. So we'll give us a couple months. We'll be open for you there too.
All right. And we'll be over there covering that opening too. Jon Napoli from all those places. Thank you so much for joining us here on In the Weeds this afternoon, this evening, whatever time it is. On. Hey, check it out. That's a good t-shirt. And the best part is the back, because that's my closing line. And I can read it. It says, it's a whole new world of weed out there. And then I say, use it responsibly, and I sign off. So I'm going to do it right now for Jon Napoli, our director, Dan French. I'm Jimmy Young. Remember, it's a whole new world of weed out there. Use it responsibly. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Hey, you want to grow your own plants? Check out Style Lighting's Grow Kit. It has everything you need to become an expert home grower and bring the power of the sun indoors. Style Lighting uses TCP's high-powered commercial LEDs that deliver twice the output in the market. The Grow Kit has a grow bag, a timer, chains to hang the light, and of course the best in the business lighting system by TCP. Check out stylelighting.shop for more information. Weed Talk and In the Weeds are two productions of Pro Cannabis Media supported by Revolutionary Clinics, one of the top medical cannabis dispensaries in the Massachusetts area, now with 3 locations in Greater Boston, 2 in Cambridge and 1 on Broadway in Somerville. Rev Clinics has a patient-first mission. They will customize your needs as a medical patient with the proper titration and combination of strains, flavors, and products. Rev Clinics, where the patient comes first.
We are Pro Cannabis Media.